Hi, welcome to my channel and the conclusion of my current project. My name is Teresa, and this will be the final of 10 videos I've made to show the process of my Painting the 100 Heads challenge. Because painting takes me a bit longer than sketching, I wasn't going to hold myself to complete the painting portion of this challenge in 10 days. That's how you make yourself hate something. I set what was, for me, a very achievable goal of painting 10 portraits per week. As I got about halfway through though, I think I could have bumped up that quota to finish a little earlier because I was getting more efficient, but the 10 per week pace was rigorous enough for improvement and relaxed enough to prevent me from starting to hate the challenge, so I kept things the same throughout. So, the 3 things I learned from Painting the 100 Heads challenge. Firstly, confidence. Doing the same thing or a similar thing over and over again until it becomes a habit is a big confidence booster. When I started this challenge, I was spending between 20 to 30 minutes per portrait, but I was able to finish most of the portraits in this final spread between 10 and 15 minutes. That isn't to say that most of these portraits are polished, because they're definitely not. None of the portraits in any of these spreads are polished, although some are certainly closer to that than others. The goal of how many minutes until a sketch is readable as a portrait wasn't one that I started out with at the beginning of this project. It emerged as I was moving through it. I could certainly go back through these portraits and give some of them more attention to polish them up, and maybe I will at a later time, but for now, they stand as they are. Second, process. As I moved through the very repetitive task of painting these portraits, my process has begun to solidify. I've seen a number of different approaches to portrait painting and tried a lot of them throughout this project. Some worked better for me than others, and some felt way more natural to me. At this point, it's pretty apparent that the best method for me is to start blocking in the dark shadows before coming back over with the midtones, lips, hair, eyes, and highlights. I also solidified a pretty universal palette for mixing skin tones, at least somewhat quickly. Maybe it's no surprise that it's basically just the Zorn palette with yellow ochre, vermilion, black, and white, plus or minus the occasional ultramarine blue. I did still struggle with capturing very pale skin while avoiding making it look chalky, but I'm feeling really confident in basically everything else. I was struggling a bit with some of the very dark skin tones in the moment, but after moving on and coming back later, I feel that even the colors I struggled with were ultimately successful. Third, style. I really admire a very painterly style with visible brushstrokes and a loose, relaxed appearance. That's what I'm trying to develop for myself and what I was hoping to achieve with this challenge. At the end now, I can say I've definitely made some progress in that area, but I'm also not where I want to be yet. Finishing these 10 spreads has definitely moved me closer to that goalpost, but it's going to take a lot more work still to reach them. And also, as far as style goes, I'm not exactly aiming for 100% realism. Even after finishing up the second 100 Heads challenge, I'm still not great at capturing the likeness of my references. I'll keep trying, mostly because I feel like that's a useful skill to have, but ultimately my aim is to solidify that painterly feeling in everything I make. If I wanted photorealism, I would take up photography. Coming back to color for a moment, something I noticed a bit while I was painting and that I'm really thinking about now is that exaggerating hues is something I'm going to continue to explore. A couple of these portraits ended up with almost purple shadows where I was using ultramarine instead of black to tint my colors darker. In some instances, it looks very natural, and in others, it looks more painterly, like an actual decision was made about which colors to use instead of a little oopsie. I do love a good happy accident, but I don't think it's good to rely on those to make a painting work. But they're definitely good to replicate and build on, especially if they happen to align with my goals. Since I want my paintings to look like they were painted, exaggerating colors is something I'm going to be keeping in mind for future works. And that's it. I won't lie, it feels pretty weird to reduce everything I learned down to about 5 minutes of audio. I feel like there should be more to add, but I guess it doesn't hurt to keep things concise. I'm really glad I took the time to do this challenge, even though it took a couple months to complete. I feel a lot better about my portrait skills, and am really looking forward to continuing practice and improvement. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Have a good one!